Hey, everyone, and welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We are your hosts, Kicker, the chief of cereal and sigilite of the FLG, Nicky D. Cannon, the flannel fan and producer extraordinaire, and I'm Seth, the Mad Doctor competitive correspondent, who is definitely still not setting up all of his screens when this went live.
All the screens.
How has everyone been doing?
I am doing swell. It is Lone Star Open week. You know, Lone Star Open is this Friday, well, Saturday and Sunday, but Friday's the meet and greet. I am so stoked. And I've been getting some hobby progress done, Seth, because I want to play during the meet and greet, and I want a beautifully painted army. Can we bring in there we go. Look at that. Those are my snipers. I decided to make some snipers for my infantry squad. I kind of kit bashed and cut and pasted and said a few little prayers, and they worked. They look good. Those are my infantry sniper squad guys, right? So, guys, if you're listening to our podcast, please consider watching us live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You get to see these cool visual elements like my hobby progress here, and be part of chat. Hey, chat, we love you. We see you, and we have some questions for you tonight. So, Seth, I know that I'm going to be at Lone Star Open. I believe you're going to Lone Star Open. What are you bringing? What have you been working on? Because you've been prepping, right? You're getting ready for this.
I mean, I haven't, my notes literally say, is purchases progress? I'm going to steal a little line from the independent characters there, because I basically, like, my army hasn't changed. We talked last week that, about RTTs that we went to. I haven't changed my army from that. So I basically was fully painted, ready. But I have played a few more practice games. Good. I have done some purchases of Necrons. I got a couple boxes of Immortals, a couple boxes of Tomb Blades, a couple boxes of Lich Guard coming. And then Kicker, you've seen this, Nicky D has seen this, but I was working on some new swag stickers for us, and we finally have added Nicky D to the logo. Why don't you show it to him, Nicky D?
Oh, beautiful. Look at this. Look at this, guys.
Oh, there we go. So Nicky D has been added to the swag logo as Puss in Boots.
So Seth, give a full description for those listening to this in audio only format.
Yes. I have been frequently in my lifetime called Shrek, and then Kicker is high energy and talks a lot.
What are you talking about?
So it was a very natural when we got together Shrek and Donkey comparison. So I originally had a logo made for us of me and Kicker as Shrek and Donkey, and then when we added Nick, we were internally discussing what character would he be. He elected not Farquaad and went with Puss in Boots, and so
can we explain why he elected to not be Farquaad? Because I believe that's important that we describe this. And Nicky, why did you not want to be Farquaad?
Why did you not choose Farquaad?
Oh, it was a very specific reason. I'm much too hairy to be Lord Farquaad. I got long, thick beard, big hair on the top. Like, that's kind of Puss in Boots like. As a sort of thing. I'm a big fan of cats. I've got a cat myself. I have a cat and a dog, so I'm not pro cat, anti dog. I love all furry animals. But
be careful.
That's
man. You're telling people you love. Yeah, just be careful.
Guys, we gave it hundreds of these stickers over the past couple of years. So now we have a brand new sticker for you to pick up. Don't be shy. Come and say hi to Seth, Nick, or I.
I won't have them for this event, but future events we will have them. I literally got this art like late last week, like maybe Saturday. So we have not had time to get it printed up yet, but you will be seeing it in the future. And if you come find us at events, we'll all have some stickers to give you. So that'd be cool. Sweet. Nicky D, what have you been up to besides being immortalized in this art?
Yeah, love it. Appreciate that, Seth. And for me, I was down at the beach with some friends this weekend, so I did not have any hobby progress. But Kicker, I did play a board game. Ooh. It's called Parks.
Yes.
Parks. I love it. Very, very simple name, and I would recommend it's you go through and collect resources so you can visit national parks. So I played a game of the thing that you do in your own personal time.
Isn't that Kicker's life? The resources are money and food and vans.
Do you have a lot of trail mix a factor? Like, I hope so.
There was no trail mix. I'll have to write to the creators of the game.
Like, gather resources. Are we talking about like fuel so you can drive to the park, or trail mix?
You collect sunlight, mountains, forests, I think water, and then like you use it to do certain things. So depending on like the type of park that it is, it might require more sunlight or more mountains and that sort of thing. I had a really fun time playing it. It was a really good, quick and easy game to play.
You sort of lost me when you said you collect sunlight. Like, I'm like,
I collected.
Hold on.
I collected so much sunlight.
Time out. You definitely like getting out in the sun. Be quiet.
I do. But this just okay. Well, this game does look cool. I see a good Christmas wish list item that I'm going to be adding. So very, very cool, Nicky D. Any 40K hobby progress though?
Not this past weekend. I'm gonna have some serious time over the next roughly 2 weeks to get a lot of hobby progress in. I stocked up on paints. I stocked up on paints so that I could get deep into the painting, but nothing new that I painted now.
As I believe Seth alluded to, purchases is considered hobby progress.
We are officially making that a rule, by the way.
All right,
is a rule.
Let's jump into the news, guys. First of all, Tyranids, because they won the battle for, let's just call it oligarchy. I don't know. Olive Garden. It was all something with an O.
Ogram.
Ogram? I don't know.
Ohram.
It was a very big name. Because of they won the battle for the Olive Garden. We have gotten new Tyranids models revealed. We've got new Gene Stealers, guys. New shiny new Gene Stealers. We've got new Termagants/Hormagaunts. And these are going to be like probably the multi-pose things. I believe there were Termagants in the
Sorry, I have to address something.
Yeah.
I now have the mental image of the battle for Olive Garden is just all the guys leaving the event, and there's an Olive Garden next door rushing to get tables.
Yes. Unlimited breadsticks too. I see the next GW box set release right there.
There we
we have a thing called a Neurolictor, which I have no idea what that is, but the Lictor is always a fan favorite for the Tyranids. And we have a Biovore Polyvore thing. It's like that model needed an update badly. Did I say that right? Pyrovore? Did I say that correct?
You said Polyvore.
Polyvore, Pyro, whatever. It's one of those weird.
Man, this NID racism.
I can't say half these things. So we have the new NID artillery piece. This model needed an upgrade badly. Seth and Nick, you know those spore mines they shoot. Those have been controversial minis in the past few weeks. Do you think we're going to figure out an answer to how they're going to be playing in 10th edition? Are they going to be able to get you corners and objectives and whatnot?
I'm going to punch them. That's what I'm going to do.
You're going to punch them.
Not with my orcs. I'm just actually going to punch them off the table.
Yeah, your artillery, like I guess missile, bomb, mine, mortar thing should not be able to hold a corner of a map or a board.
Are you saying living munitions shouldn't be... Wait a minute.
I think. All right. Oh, we have the emissary thing too, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this a multi-build kit?
Yep. Okay. There are 2 builds. There was the emissary, and there was another one.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Assimilator, I think.
Assimilator.
Yes.
He sounds very Borg.
Yeah, Assimilator is like, we're welcome to the company. We're going to onboard you.
Yeah, right.
He's not onboarding politely, just so we're clear.
I love it. Well, I am honestly a huge fan of these multi-build kits. It just makes it so much more exciting. Okay. We also got to talk about something that's it's near and dear to my personal guard heart. We've got Minka-Lesk and a book. This is the guard character that was one of the Cadian survivors, I guess.
Oh my God, so many Cadians.
Yeah, so many Cadians. She survived the fall of Cadia. She's got a book series. I think this is the 3rd or 4th book in the series that's coming out. And now she gets her own mini, which is just so freaking cool. I'm stoked for that. I don't know if there's rules for her, but you can just throw in any old infantry squad and I'm sure it'll be fine. And then Necromunda, they're getting a core rule book and some gaming accessories as well. Got to be honest, guys, never once played Necromunda, yet I own probably 20 different, box sets from the Necromunda range because I love those models. Have you guys played Necromunda, either one of you?
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, nope for me. I've gotten some boxes as prize support and things like that at events. I feel like that's always the sort of thing that people end up with. There are some really cool kits I've seen used as cultists as well.
Yes.
Cultists or
voidmen, things like
as
Rough Riders.
Yes. So there we go. Right, I've got some Rough Riders. So Necromunda are just like that's that thing. But Seth, have you not used anything for your orcs? It seems like orcs are the optimal kit bashing army. There has to be some Necromunda bits you could.
There's always vehicles and stuff you can salvage from Necromunda.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see a Necromunda after hours event at LVO one day. Who knows?
That'd be fun.
Hey,
all right, we got something. Yeah,
real quick. When and if I figure out how to play Necromunda, we could have an event called Necromunda, where it's me hosting the Necromunda event.
We're doing it, Nick.
We got a lot of steps to get
LVO
there first.
After Hours, Nick Amrunda. This is happening 2024. Get your tickets. All right, nerd news. Nick, we're putting you on the spot because this is your segment, and it was a little light. I wasn't really sure what to talk about. Maybe you got something. Anything of interest? Just go, the world as at large, not just gaming in particular. Do we have any interesting things we want to share?
Well, we already talked about this last week to an extent, but Barbenheimer officially releases this weekend. I only have time to go see one movie this weekend, and I'm actually not going to see Barbenheimer. I'm going to see Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Look, Chad, I already yelled at him. Okay,
yeah, he did.
I already was like, dude, this is the Barbenheimer weekend, and you're going to go see Mission Impossible.
Shows battling.
What I'm probably going to do is see Oppenheimer Tuesday night next week, so night before Signals, because Tuesday night is discounted movie night. So I think I'm going to go see Oppenheimer then. And then Barbie, I'll see that later in the week. I think that's what I'm going to go for.
Cool. Okay. Seth, are you going to go see Barbie or Oppenheimer?
I mean, I would, but I'm at this little thing called LSO. So my wife and I have booked our IMAX tickets for Oppenheimer.
Ooh, IMAX,
for the weekend after I get back. So we'll go see it there. I still haven't figured out. I know at some point I'm going to see Barbie, but I haven't figured out when.
Yeah. I wanted to point out that I believe Shark Week is next week. Is that accurate, guys? Yes.
Yes, it is. We are gonna, between me seeing the movies, I'm gonna come up with a special shark themed episode of Signals. I don't know what that's gonna entail yet. Folks are just gonna have to tune in and find out. But yes, next week is Shark Week.
We don't know what that'll look like.
Celebrate accordingly.
I wanted to share just something random because I wasn't sure if we were gonna have any nerd news, and I don't know why this happened. I really don't. Actually, I do know why this happened. I was listening to the Star Wars soundtrack purely randomly, and then it went to the next random selected song of similar kind of like, I guess, soundtrack genres, and I got the Power Rangers theme song from like 1993 or 1994. Very, very, very much entertaining. Highly recommend that you guys go listen to Go Power Rangers if you get bored while driving to work tomorrow. And do we have a release date on Ashoka? That's that new. There's like a two episode Star Wars.
It's sometime in August.
Okay,
I know that. I will be. There are certain shows my wife and I when they release it, we watch them as soon as possible, and that's Ahsoka. When that comes out, every day where a new episode comes out, we're watching it. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's happening. Gonna watch that.
Sweet. We're gonna hop right over into event news. We're gonna keep it fast, but Lone Star Open, guys, as we were saying, it starts Saturday and Sunday. Friday night is the meet and greet from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can come roll dice. There'll be a cash bar. We're encouraging branch versus branch challenge missions. Now there is also a 40K branch versus branch competition taking place during the 40K champions. It's part of the 40K champs. If you want to represent your branch, be it the U.S. Air Force, the Navy, you fill out a form. That form will now have our judges track your results during the 40K championship event so that we can then determine a branch champ and give you guys an epic trophy. Also, new for LSO, we mentioned it last week. We're going to see it again. We have the Hobgob Ammo Run. This is the really cool scavenger hunt. You can win yourself a bolter. There's going to have a las pistol. I believe it's a replica. I could be wrong, but I think it's
not
a
real las pistol.
It's not a real las pistol.
A not functioning las pistol. What are they doing over there in the hobby house?
But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's free to participate, and you get some really cool stuff. Now, I've been getting bombarded, and I know chat might have even already asked, when is SoCal happening? Guys, SoCal is still happening. It's happening at the end of October like it always does. It is the event in San Diego and the Del Mar Fairgrounds. It is a much beloved event right there on the coast. The tickets for that will be going live in about 2 weeks after Lone Star Open. I'm just going to be getting that ready myself. That's my sole goal. So sit tight. Next week, we will reveal the artwork, and it is gorgeous, and you will love it. And Seth will be very, very happy.
Sweet.
That's all. All
right. Well, I do have to, before we jump too far away from the event news, we need to give a shout out to Mikey G on the road warrior himself, driving from Las Vegas to Dallas with all of the terrain and all of the swag and all the kits we need for the event. So thanks for doing the work, Mikey.
Yes,
we'll see you in just a few short days.
He is on the road right now. Maybe you can if Mikey G can pull over and give us a status update, shoot me or Seth a text. You can kind of know where in the world he currently is. Please don't do it while you're driving.
Where in the world is Mikey Gandolfo.
He's somewhere between
Nevada. Hey, that works.
It works. All right. It does work. He's somewhere between Nevada and Texas, and he will be there tomorrow night. All right, guys. I think it's time for our signal short.
Yeah, it is.
Who's spearheading tonight?
I'll take it here. And real quick, Kicker, thank you for mentioning the Power Rangers theme song, because in chat, Walk-In is now basically just giving us all the lyrics, and now it's just going to be ringing in my head for the next day or so. Thank you for
Power Rangers.
All right, so our signal short question. So I mentioned that I had bought a bunch of paints this past weekend, right? It got me thinking. So signal short question: what paint would you stockpile if you found out that it was being retired?
Oof. I think I would have to go with Mephiston Red.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Chat, please. We will be reading your thoughts on this. We're curious to know. We want to know what you think. I got to go with it though, man. I got to go with. It's a combo here. It's a 2-part, right?
No.
It is.
Paint? Single paint.
If it has to be one, I'm gonna have to go with Xandri Dust. I love that color so damn much, and it's distinct. It's not. No offense to Mephiston, but Mephiston Red is kind of like the Macragge Blue. They're kind of just like it's a red and it's a blue. Like you can find a shade up or a shade down, and you'll be okay. Xandri Dust is so freaking special. It's just that unique kind of yellowish brownish color. Yeah, I know Seth is hating me right now. All right, I apologize.
Yep. We should have expected.
What is your color of choice?
So mine would have to be, it's the contrast paint, actually. Ooh. It's the voluptuous I don't know. That might not be. It might not be voluptuous. Voluptuous pink. I use it. It's more of a kind of magenta, but I use it for all my Nurgle demons. I used it for some of my other demon bits, even for kind of some of the magic on some of the Tzeentch items that I use. So it is absolutely essential to painting my demons army, and especially because I'm having to add a lot more Nurgle. Guys, I'm watching chat, and our buddy Mikey Gandolfo, he put in his choice, and he says that it should obviously be Nuln Oil.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
Yeah, I've seen a few votes also for Agrax Earthshade.
That's a good choice.
That's liquid talent in a
Agrax and Null are so multi-purpose, but those can't disappear. Like those are like original GW Citadel colors. Like those aren't going away. Those are. Where is Mike? Do we have an idea where Mike's at? I'm just curious now. Did he mention where
he's about an hour from Moriarty, New Mexico?
Okay, cool. All right. Keep on trucking, Mike. All right, guys. Any other colors in chat that we need to make sure that GW?
I want to put a shout out. So like I need to explain. Yeah, you were like red's just red, whatever. Right. So I think about like my orcs. You know, their skin can vary.
Yeah,
their clothes can vary because they get dirty. My armors are always either red, blue, or yellow. And I figured blue I could find on the shade. Mephiston Red covers real well. Like it's like one coat, you done.
Yeah.
But I also considered Averland Sunset my base yellow.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could find a similar shade if I had to. But it doesn't cover in one coat. I don't know if any yellow does. But you know, I had to choose, and that's why I held you to one, Kicker.
Yeah. Okay.
Seth, what was that color you said? Was that Avril Lavigne? Was that
Avril Lavigne yellow? Yes. Avril Lavigne yellow.
Trademark. You know she plays 40K, right? Like big fan.
Absolutely.
Big fan. No. Side story. Averland Sunset used to come in a rattle can. I used it to prime most of my miniatures, especially like I love that. I loved it. I loved it so much. And then they discontinued that rattle can. And I know you can use an airbrush, but I am not an airbrush kind of guy. And since then, I've just decided that color is dead to me. I just don't use Averland Sunset for anything because they took away my spray can.
You're like, I'll never use yellow again.
Exactly. Yeah. I use a lot of browns and oranges, but no yellows. All right. Should we jump into our main segment, Seth, Nick?
Yeah. There's this little thing called LSO coming up, Kicker.
Yeah.
So Kicker, you put out I think you put out an email and an article with what do you need to know to survive at LSO kind of thing. You want to give us kind of the bullet points of what folks need to know if they're going to be attending?
Are we talking specifically about the 40K champs?
Like the event in general, like, where do you find food, park,
Yeah.
all
So
that
the
jazz.
event in general, you'll have breakfast in the hall. Definitely
Yep.
recommended. There's a breakfast in the hotel, but it's way more expensive and you have to wait in
Mhm.
line. Breakfast in the hall, like most of our events, they have breakfast burritos, all reasonably priced. Starts at 8. Hall opens at 8. Please, if you show up at 7:30, I'm not letting you in. I'm sorry. I need to like still get my computer stuff set up. So 8 will open up. 8 o'clock is also when the breakfast in the hall opens up. There's coffee, breakfast, burritos, all that. We're going to be doing paint judging for 40K at 8 in the morning. We'll have, I believe, Jacob from the Hobby Goblins spearheading that. You'll also be able to add yourself to a branch if you have not already done so. One of our judges can add you to represent the Marines, the Army, et cetera, et cetera. And then once dice roll, go have fun. We do stay on time. If you're late, well, guess what? You might just take a loss for your first round. And we do have lunch in the hall as well. Lunch is going to be a pretty good range of stuff. We have chicken tenders because those are always a number one thing. Yes. Yeah. Right. And of course, other things, sandwiches and whatnot, but we'll have lunch and the bar open for the rest of the day. So good food all the time. The event is big. It's not like it's grown significantly since the last year. It's about the same, but all the other game systems intentionally so we've given them the opportunity to grow. So Armada, X-Wing, Star Wars Legion, even Middle Earth strategy battle games, that's the Lord of the Rings game, those have all just exploded. So this year, if you're at LSO previous years...
Kicker, we have very important questions.
Shoot.
What are the beer prices?
What are what?
The beer prices.
Oh crap! I can probably pull them up if I need to. I believe it's $8. I think for just like, I know it's not the best price for
beer, but I mean that's what you're paying for.
It's what you're paying, but it's decent. Please, guys, don't bring outside food and drink because they are watching you. They're way more lenient at the Lone Star Open than they are say at LVO, like where they will literally have a bouncer carry you out. Texas is way cooler than that, but still,
kicker though will carry you out.
I will carry you out. Oh, we should talk about this because this did happen last year, and please don't take the luggage trolleys from the hotel lobby.
I was like, where are we going? We just talked about carrying people out.
Right? Jeez. No. See, well, but please, guys, I know it's very it seems like a great idea in the moment to go take that luggage trolley and use it to carry your army around for the entire weekend. The hotel got very frustrated that so they didn't have any luggage cards. So please don't do that. But yeah, after the event, you are right across the street from the Waters Creek shopping area, so you can literally walk across the street with your team and grab dinner there. They have a really good Mexican restaurant and a cheesecake factory and a cool pub, so good options all around. Seth, should we talk about the importance of reading the player packet? Because some people don't read the player packet, like they just choose not to. And this is a new edition. You got to read. Things are not the same.
So I made a post earlier in the week, or I guess last week, and then head judge Adam made a blog post and sent out some emails. But there are some changes to the kind of standard FLG player pack that you're used to. It's important to read these things. It's important not to gloss over these things. I'll be honest, guys. I didn't catch the changes the first time around. Someone told me, hey, there's these changes in the FLG player pack. And I was like, really? I didn't see that. And I went back and read it, and I was like, you're right. And that's why I posted, because I missed it. So the two big things, player place terrain, there is going to be a change in how that operates. Previously, you roll for attacker defender. Defender places the first piece of terrain, then attacker places one, and you just alternate back and forth, each placing one. That caused a little bit of a disadvantage for the attacker because the defender got the first piece, so they could put it in midfield and kind of dictate where the terrain pieces went. Some other folks have been experimenting with other styles, and so FLG adopted a modified style, which is the defender places the first piece of terrain, and then the attacker gets to place two of their pieces of terrain. So it sort of helps balance out getting a little bit of even placement towards that midfield. That attacker gets more chance to help dictate what the midfield is going to look like if they want to use those first two drops on that. And then after that attacker has placed those two pieces of terrain, it goes back to defender and attacker alternating placing one until all the terrain is finished. There's also go back and look at the packet when you have a minute. There are some slight changes to how things are measured and how far away they can be. So go back through and read that before you start your first game, guys. It's a similar system to what you've been doing. There's just some minor tweaks to keep an eye on.
Cool.
Now, the other thing, and this is a very, very important thing for very specific armies to be aware of, there is a change to how line of sight is determined with the FLG ruins. We still have a number of ruins that are marked with F in the packet, which means the first floor is fully line of sight blocking. That remains the same, but now all ruins are considered to be infinitely tall, and line of sight cannot be drawn over top of them. So what that means is a towering model that in the base rule set from GW can completely draw a line of sight over a ruin to your guys hiding behind it. That causes some real feels bad moments. So with this, they won't be able to draw a line of sight past that terrain. Now, that being said, the way terrain rules work for line of sight is a model has to be wholly within it to be able to look through it. That's a really bad thing for knights because they have such a big base. So we did make it so that knights, when touching a ruin, then use true line of sight to look through that ruin. So, Nick, what do you think about these changes, man?
Overall, I think a lot of players have been asking for some changes or updates with terrain as people have been testing out 10th edition. So I like that Adam and the judge team here at FLG took a proactive approach to doing things that are a little bit different. I like that part of it. I have not played since the update came out, going through and seeing that. But conceptually, I really like it. Seth, as it goes for these changes, though, are there certain armies, and do you think that these changes may have influenced what people brought for the event? And what are people bringing for the event?
Before we get to that, I do want to say that this is literally FLG's first event in 10th, guys.
It's true.
And our judge team, our event staff is always trying to give you the best experience. This is our attempt at making our terrain work in the 10th edition rule set. So we are certainly open to feedback, for players that have been at the event and played on the terrain or played with our terrain rules at home. And we can always try to adjust these things as we go forward. We're always trying to get better every event. So just keep that in mind. I've had feedback from both ends of the spectrum of this is horrible for knights and this is amazing for knights, which is kind of humorous to me that we can have two ends of the spectrum. But I've always said to people, play the terrain, try the rules, then come back and say, hey, how did this work? Was this a positive or a negative?
And the Lone Star Open, like the SoCal Open, are really the last two Frontline Gaming events to test for the LVO. Yeah. The LVO, obviously, massive. LVO is already sold out. I mean, huge, right? Yeah. So we want to make sure we have, we can't change our terrain. Our terrain is what it is. We have, 800 tables worth of terrain. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out what
pivot that particular, cruise ship very fast.
Yeah, exactly.
It's big. It doesn't turn quickly.
Yeah. But we are, Frontline Gaming as a whole, like we're super responsive and we want to listen to you guys. So let's see how LSO goes. And after that, we can adjust for SoCal if needed and then go right into LVO.
Yeah.
Should we jump into this crazy meta that we're having at the Lone Star Open? Because I know Seth,
so I list unlocked this morning. So I did go through and give us a kind of quick meta analysis. Nicky D, I have a nice pie chart here. But you'll note that there's not too many massive wedges on that pie chart. The big ones being Custodes and Eldari. Custodes have 11, Knights have 15, generic Space Marines have 14 players, and this is out of 210 that had lists in as of this morning. Chaos Knights at 12. Eldari had the most at 20.
Oh geez, I didn't realize they're that big. Wow.
They now, but that's to be clear. I did look through some of the other art lists. They're not all like the Wraith Knight lists that are the Boogeyman. So there are going to be a mix of those in there as well. Interesting to take a look at. Kicker. You know how we have our faction champion pins?
Yes.
You can already award the AdMech pin at the start of the event.
We got one AdMech player?
There is only one AdMech player. And he is a friend of mine, Matthew Reese. So I think we need to award him that at the start of the event.
Yeah. For those of you not in the, kind of at every Frontline Gaming event, if you are the best in faction, you get this really cool faction specialist pin, regardless of the game system, right? So we do it for Legion as well. Yep. So if there's only one AdMech player to Lone Star Open, congratulations, sir. You are the best in faction for the AdMech at Lone Star.
Now there's a few other, we'll call it tight races, Kicker, with Votan and Drukhari each coming in with a mighty 2 representatives. But there is a good mix. Every faction is in attendance. We do have some variance in numbers, but there was a lot of good showings. I was surprised to see Dark Angels. There was 11 Dark Angels in the mix. A lot of people have been poo-pooing World Eaters because Combat has said there's 6 World Eater players. Everyone's GSC's the boogeyman. There's 11 GSC there.
Yeah.
You're certainly going to see them, but 11 out of 210 is not a huge amount. So it's interesting. You'll get a chance to see a lot of different armies on display, and we'll get to see how things filter out. We talked about it before the show, like a real quick thing to think about. Everyone was thinking Knights were going to be the Knights and Elder were the top dogs. They were going to take Tacoma last weekend. It ended up being the finals was Custodes on Custodes. So we'll see if Custodes, shove their way to the top of this event and bully everyone around like they did over at Tacoma, or if this settles out. There were other events. The Show Me Showdown. The top 3 players were Eldari.
Wow.
So it's still extremely early in the meta, and so I think that's why we're seeing such a wide variance as people are just trying everything and getting games and seeing what works.
Cool.
Anything stand out to you guys looking at those meta numbers?
So we do look like we have, if you combine Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, we're talking like that's the largest, I guess.
Yeah, so that's like 27.
There's going to be some big boys out there. That's going to be a thing you're going to have to face most likely if you're running to the top.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, right. Oh, jeez. Orcs, only 7 orcs though. I'm kind of disappointed. I figured we'd have more orcs out there, but yeah.
Hey, look, all of us can't be true greenskin longtime orc players.
Seth, I know you're doing the Stephen Box thing. Do you know, did he give you any tips for building your list?
Actually, Stephen and I haven't. We've had a few chats, but we haven't done too much. My list building has mostly been out of working with a few friends of mine to kind of come up with something that works for me.
Do you have any special sauce you want to talk about? Like, do you have anything like a special?
Roll 4-ups.
Oh, come on.
That's my special sauce. Mozrog Scragbat has a 4-up invuln and a 4-up Feel No Pain. And if I just roll enough 4s, he's invulnerable.
Oh, jeez. All right. Okay. So, guys, as you know, this is a pretty big event. I just checked the numbers. We're at 217 currently checked in, and we still are not selling tickets. People are still trying to get in, talking to us like, well, I'm not in the event. So we're at 217 players as of right now. The event is, obviously very soon. I've been talking to a lot of people. I'm sure you've seen some of those names on there. Nick, Seth. We've got some heavy hitters coming in from around. Obviously, we got some Texans because it's in Texas, but we got some heavy hitters coming in from around the country. Seth, do you have a list or two that you want to try to highlight?
So we all kind of were looking through lists today with the task of pulling some lists. I decided to pull one that I think is pretty competitive and one that I just it speaks to me in my heart.
Okay.
So the competitive list I pulled was the Genestealer Cult list, played by none other than Stephen Box himself.
All right. Wow. Wait, he's playing Genestealer Cult?
He is.
Wow.
He is. Now, I've had the chance to play against Genestealer Cult, and so I know a little bit about how his list works, but he had some interesting choices. The big thing, a lot of Genestealer Cults are taking a lot of Acolyte units and a lot of Neophyte units to really kind of lean on their core units being revived, their battle line units getting revived mechanic. He didn't lean too heavily on that. He still has like 4 or 5 blocks of Acolytes, but he did have a big block of Aberrants, which is a close combat unit, and he had 2 units of Atalan Jackals. They're bikes.
Yeah.
And the big thing with this is when you put, they each get a Jackal Alphas, which means twice per turn, that unit, every time it moves, it can throw bombs on you and do a bunch of mortal wounds for every model in the unit.
So twice per turn?
Well, so every time it moves, it does that. And then after the unit shoots, the Primus lets it move again.
Oh, jeez.
So it moves up, blows you up, shoots something, blows you up again, and then moves again.
Oh, disgusting.
So that's a lot of mortal wounds. It's interesting that he chose not to have like just the horde of infantry that just never dies and comes back again and again and again, and go with the bikes to try to lean on that mortal wounds. So we'll see if that is enough damage output to really carry him to the top, because those big blocks can do a lot of damage in shooting, but those bikes are mobile and can get to you quick and early. So I was excited to see that. Nicky D, you looked at a couple lists. What was the competitive list you looked at?
Yeah, so I was gonna pull something Chaos Demons. Real quick note before I jump into it, though, I was looking at Thousand Sons.
Okay.
Thousand Suns, they can pump out a ton of damage, but I was trying to find a list that was, kind of the archetype for Thousand Suns, and they're basically all the same list, where it's Ahriman, a couple Exalted Sorcerers, Magnus, a couple units of Rubric Greens, and then at least two Mutalith Vortex Beast. So there wasn't anything interesting enough for me to look at there. So I ended up taking a look at Kit Smith Hannah's list for Chaos Demons. It is listed in BCP as the dual grinder list. I'll skip to the lead here, guys. It's because he includes 2 Tzeentch soul grinders.
All right.
Now we've talked about soul grinders before with regards to some of my demons. The way soul grinders work in 10th edition is that you have to align them with one of the 4 chaos guides, and they get a special shooting attack that is unique to that soul grinder, to that god allegiance. The Tzeentch one, they each are going to get D3 shots that come in at strength 12 and high AP, high damage. So demons generally can have kind of a problem with dealing with tanks if you don't have the Bloodthirster, if you don't have Shalaxi Hellbane. So I think I haven't talked to Kit, but I think he's kind of leaning into the idea that he needs to be able to deal with tanks at range. Aside from that, his list has some of the usual suspects. He's got some Nurglings, some Flamers, some Blood Crushers, Be'lakor, a Lord of Change, and then Shalaxi, and then the Changeling as a lone operative to sit in the back. So it was a cool. Yeah, it's real annoying for a lot of people, but I liked Kit's list. Had some interesting tech pieces in there, some old tried and true that we've seen in a lot of 10th edition Chaos lists, but he's putting in some new tech pieces that people haven't played with yet, and I'm really going to be following his results from this weekend.
All right, Kicker, did you look at lists, or is it just me and?
I'm just leaving this up to you guys.
All right. Well, let me get my other list pulled up here. Where'd you go, Chance? There he is, Chance Lancaster. He's playing Tau. Wow. I don't know much about Tau in 10th, but I do know that this man brought the big tuna. He brought the Taunar, along with Anva, Shadow Sun, a Cold Star, a couple units of Fire Sights, a couple units of 1 unit of Crisis, 2 Piranhas, a unit of Stealth Suits, and 2 units of Vespid. So he's just putting the big boy on the table and seeing what happens. So I'm excited to see if that big boy is always gonna live up to his points cost at 790. But to be honest, the reason I collected Tau when I was a kid was because it had big suits.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest of the suits.
Yeah.
So I want to see it do well.
Sweet. Nicky D, you got another list for us though, right?
I did. I pulled a list. I am claiming this person as the people's hero, the people's champion already for Lone Star Open. If my screen can scroll down. So my list highlight, Jason Ryder, and also shout out to Jason. He is part of the U.S. Army esports team, which Kicker, we know that Lone Star Open is the premier event for military appreciation that FLG is doing. So we had to highlight an Army esports list here tonight, right?
And
so,
I was looking at the roster. There's a lot of guys.
There's a lot. Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of guys from the Army.
We'll circle back on that.
All right.
Yeah. So Jason's list, I'm so excited. It is it's a Chaos Space Marines, triple Warpsmith, triple Lord of Skulls, and a Noctilith crown. He's got some other stuff in there, but that is the core of the list. That guy, he's having all the fun.
Is that the terrain piece? Is the crown?
That is the terrain piece.
He wins LSO, by the way.
Who cares at this point? Yeah.
Come on. That's that. As I was going through a list, I was trying to find something else that was, unique that other people wouldn't necessarily have a chance to play against. And that list looks like an all-timer. I am seeing that actually my good buddy, Mr. Nick H in chat, who was one of the guys who got me into playing Warhammer years ago, he's noting that Jason is actually local to his meta, which would be up in the Seattle, Washington area that's there. So Jason traveling a long way to go and play with 3 Lord of Skull. So if you see Jason at the event, buy him a drink, a slice of pizza, whatever it is there that he's gonna have an awesome time with it. And oh boy. Speaking of having awesome times, Seth, you want to take this one?
We have a super chat.
Oh wow!
For $100, which is amazing.
Yes, thank you.
I'm gonna save the individual's name for last because it's important. It's a good look at LSO, but the individual is named is Toilet Dice.
Toilet
I
Dice.
have no idea who Toilet Dice is. So thanks, Toilet Dice.
Thank you, Toilet Dice.
And now we have that sound clip for eternity of me saying thanks, Toilet Dice.
Very much appreciated.
Oh boy! All right, so final thoughts, guys. Who's gonna win LSO? I want to know Armed Forces branch and who's going to win the actual event individually.
Man, okay, so individually I do know, and we were talking about this before the show, there's some of the US team, what is it, the
WTC team,
US WTC team players coming down. I want one of them to win. Like, I want them to go for it. Do we know any players? I know Ben Jerk is coming, right? Do we know anyone else? Is it just
Ben's gonna be there playing Eldari.
All right. I don't want Eldari to win, though. I know that sounds. I see, right? Never mind. Back it up. All right.
Back
Nick,
it up.
who do you think is going to win? And if you have a branch you're rooting for as well.
So my grandfather served in the Navy, so I got to go Navy. Plus, also in Top Gun, they're naval aviators, and that's one of my all-time favorite movies. So I'm going Navy. Personal preference.
Navy.
For winner, I'm going to pick a guy that I know is going. Despite the terrain changes and that impacting his army, I think he's going to place pretty well. He placed pretty well at Tacoma this past weekend, and that is Noah Bedham.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Noah, I met Noah at Cherokee.
He was like, what, top 15?
Something like, yeah. He had a really good showing. I met Noah at Cherokee, and he immediately bought a drink, so we were best friends right away. And, but yeah, great guy.
It was a lot of fun. And just give him like a tip of the hat, because his paint job is just like, what the hell, right? This is one of those guys that knows how to paint.
He's a big hobbyist.
Yeah. I expect Noah will not only do well in the win-loss department and points scored, but I also expect that his army will be showcased in the painting competition kicker. So
you're Noah calling paint showcases.
Damn, look at this guy calling all the shots. All right,
so I'm betting on Noah.
Now, so for my Armed Forces branch, full disclosure, I'm a bit biased on this front. I'm like an hour away from Fort Benning, which is one of the Army forts. That's the store that I do most of my RTTs at. So, and that's where like a lot of the Army esports team got its start. So I know a lot of those guys. So I got to pull for the Army. Otherwise, I think I might literally get shanked at the next RTT I go to. So sorry, I have friends in all the armed forces, but Army significantly outnumbers the rest of you guys. Yeah. So I think that's who that's. To me, I think that's probably who's going to.
Do we have a player?
Now, the player, kicker. We have in attendance someone who might say is the greatest 40K player of all time. Do you know who that is?
No idea.
I see where this is going.
Frankie Giampapa.
Oh, yeah.
Is the greatest 40K player of all time. And I looked at his list, and he's taking infantry spam. GSC, he's taking tons and tons of bodies, and that's really good at playing the mission.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Frankie, if he's been getting the reps, man, he could go a long way with that list. So I'm pulling for Frankie. I think Frankie's going to take it down.
For those of you who don't know, Frankie and Reese are the founders of Frontline Gaming. Frankie and Reese were also the original host of this exact podcast / show you're watching right now.
And Frankie's former title on the show may have been the best 40K player of all time.
Best 40K player.
I think this is time for Frankie to reassert his dominance in the 40K meta.
He has been practicing. He and a few other guys from the office are going to be coming on down and playing at the Lone Star Open. You mentioned it just now, GSC. We know Box is coming in all the way from the UK. Yep. If I had to pick a player, Frankie's up there, but Box or Frankie, both of them running GSC, both of them very competent players.
Yeah.
That'll be.
I think either one of them. Since I kind of demoed Box's list.
Yeah.
I felt like I couldn't take him. I had to spread the love.
Yeah, fair enough. Very cool.
Right. Seth, you could say that you demo charged.
Oh, there we go. You just went there. All right. What's happening on the Frontline Entertainment Network? What do we got going on some of our friends?
If you want to watch all the action this weekend, War Games Live is going to be at LSO streaming. So head over there, check out Joe. He'll have all the action for you guys. So that'll be exciting to watch. I don't normally like to give this next show credit, but Grim After Dark. They have added a new piece to their repertoire which is their outro song. I'm not going to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
But I strongly encourage everyone go back to this week's episode or any other future episodes they produce and listen to the outro music. It is an experience. They played it for me before it went live, and I was a bit speechless for a bit. So you just got to go take a listen to that. You skip the rest of the show. Who cares about that? But that outro music was something else. And then our good friends and coworkers over at TFG Radio, they've got an episode out from last week, but it just kind of hit the podcast feeds earlier this week. So they're talking about how 10th edition's shaping up and the rules. This was post the first round of balance changes, so it's very interesting to get their take. I always like listening to those guys, so always go give them a listen. Kicker, you did a bit of a community poll. This week it was which branch does the community think is going to win LSO? How'd that shape out?
Yes. All right, guys. So we've got the Army, we've got the Navy, we've got the Air Force, we've got the Marines, and we've got the Coast Guard. We do not include the Space Force. I'm sorry. We didn't include it, guys. Overwhelmingly, we've got 59% of the people saying the Army, followed closely, well, not closely, followed by the Air Force at 15%, then 9% for the Marines, 8% for the Navy, 7% for the Coast Guard. Now, this is a little unfair because if you guys actually look at the data, there's a lot more people in the U.S. Army than any one of the other branches, just if we're looking at that raw numbers of potential people who are going to be voting. So they do have a little bit of pull. And also the U.S. Army has a very charismatic and energetic leader in terms of their esports team, Red Powell, yes, who is making the rounds. He's really doing a good job spearheading the U.S. Army's 40K presence. So kudos to Red Powell. Yep. Do we have some fun? We'll have a poll for you guys next week. We always do. It's posted on the Frontline Gaming community Facebook group. Hang out, chat.
We're being accused of guardsman bias.
Yes, 100%. I mean, there's no doubt about that I'm rooting for any Guards player. But realistically, I think Gene Stealer Colt. Gene Stealer Colt can basically just play. I think
Dean meant more like the Army is the equivalent of Guardsman.
Yeah, of course. No, I got you. Yeah. But I just realized that if you like NIDS a little bit, but you really like Guard, you can just play Gene Stealer Colts, right? Like
you could just totally dabble in both.
Random question. I know I'm not supposed to go on tangents because I was like not supposed to do it, but I gotta ask, can Gene Stealer Cult bring in a Baneblade? Can they do that? Is that a thing?
I know they can bring in some amount of guard. I don't know how much.
So that's like the big super big tank. Chat, tell us what they can do. So, while they're telling us that, Seth, we've got some announcements.
Yeah, so rather than doing our model spotlight this week, I did have a few other folks in the community that I wanted to spotlight this week. Two of these folks that are really doing some really good work out there. So Nick and I both are friends with this individual, JC Watts. Last year, he started an event called the Battle to End Alzheimer's. I was at it last year. It was a fantastic time. This year, it's August 5th to 6th at Tables and Towers in Westminster, Maryland. Everything JC does at this event, 100% of the funds for this event go to support Alzheimer's research. And we've all had a chance, unfortunately, here on the show to see individuals affected with Alzheimer's. So it is certainly something near and dear to our heart. They get a lot of prize support donated. JC's been showing off models all year long that folks have painted and donated, as well as tons of kits. I know in the past there's been a whole armies donated. There's been carrying trays, tons of stuff. So if you're at the event, you can purchase raffle tickets. There's also player bounties, which I think is hilarious. So you can put a bounty on a player, and you can make it a raffle ticket award. So, for instance, if the three of us were there and I wanted to motivate you two to try, I would say, hey, all of Nick and Kicker's opponents, if you beat them, I'll buy you a raffle ticket, or I'll buy you 5 raffle tickets, or whatever. Nice. So you can set whatever you want. You can do round one's grudge matches. If you and an opponent agree for a donation to the charity, you and that opponent play round one. So you got that. There's also, this is very important, a pie booth. Not to eat the pies, but to pie your friends in the face.
Okay.
So if for a donation, you can pie your friends in the face. And I do remember last year, my friend TJ Lanigan was there, and he got pied hard. I mean, like there was splatter off that man's face because they had like the booth is kind of lined with like plastic to keep it from getting too messy. There was like literally like a TJ shaped like hole in the whipped cream because the rest just hit the wall. It hit with so much force. So it's a lot of fun. If you're in the area, go check it out. I think they're up to 70 or 80 players this year.
Cool.
And they have room for up to 150. And it's the store is super cool. There's lots of room. It's inside a mall actually. So you don't have to worry about it getting too hot because those malls have like the super industrial AC of doom. So it's a great time. So go check it out. The other
Seth, real quick before you go on to that too, I'll note, even if you can't attend, guys, you can find JC on Facebook as well. You can donate to the cause to help support it. So we 40K players, if we're able to be generous in the parts that are supported, good guy and a good cause there, all for it, even if you can't make the event.
Random thing, I find these kind of events when they pop up locally, for me, is a great way to get rid of my pile of shame. Donate your pile of shame as a prize support.
Seth, is your pile of shame pie? Is that what you're inferring?
I have a closet of shame.
All right, guys. Do we have another event too?
Yep. So our buddies over at Party at the All Points brought this one up to me, and I looked into it, and it was a really good event. So I wanted to shout them out too. 40 hours of 40K. This is it was originally done in the UK. This is a Canadian spin-off this year. It supports the Heads Up Guys charity, which is a charity for men's mental health and to prevent men's suicide in Canada. 3 of 4 suicides in Canada are men, so it's a really important cause. It's supported by a few individuals: JP Lakecase, his studio, Gabrielle Studios, and the Game Store Industrial Park. This is all in Edmonton, if I remember correctly. They have tons of prizes. This is an online event, so it's going to be a 40-hour stream, which is crazy, by the way, to do 40 hours of consecutive streaming. They'll have guest commentary, but you can purchase raffle tickets, and people have been donating painted models, painted armies, lots of stuff like that. So super cool to see. This one's happening in September 23rd. So keep that on your calendars. Pop that on your TV in your hobby room like me, and paint away and watch the fun. And if you want to contribute, grab some raffle tickets and help support these guys in a great cause. They raised over £10,000 last year because it was UK, which is it's not a small chunk of money, guys. So that's super cool, and I'm always excited when our community gets a chance to do something like this.
All right, guys, I got one more. More. This is for my buddy. And you know what's so cool is you have these amazing community members doing amazing events, right? So we talked about JC, we got to talk about these Canadians. Just awesome. Well, here's another awesome guy. This is Mario. Mario out of the Utah region. He is an awesome guy. You've seen him at a lot of our events. Guys, the Salt Lake Open is being done by him. This is the Salt Lake Open 2023. This is taking place August 18th through the 20th. This is the largest wargaming event in the state of Utah. Of course, it's going to have 40K Age of Sigmar, but as well as things like Blood Bowl and Saga, Middle Earth. And Star Wars Armada, all the game systems. Cool thing, free shuttle from the airport. That's always nice. There's an on-site event bar. You're 15 minutes for Uber to downtown. There's also going to be a free social on Friday that if you buy a ticket to an event, you're going to get pizza and drinks for free. That's pretty sweet. So events and details can be found on Facebook or at utahwargaming.com. This is a new event that they're growing, that they aim to really, really grow. And its tickets, I believe, just went live. If you're in Utah, and there's a lot of gamers in Utah, guys. Utah has the highest number of game stores per capita.
Really?
Go check this out. Yeah, right? Crazy. So go check out this event. It's in August. I will hopefully be there. If not this year, next year. So yeah. Check it
Kicker,
out.
we have a question in chat, and I feel like you need to shame this individual.
Shame? Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Dorian Bashaw asks, quick question. Should we bring our challenge coins to LSO?
Oh, 100%. So any Frontline Gaming event you go to, you got to bring your challenge coins. Don't send me a photo or don't say they're at my hotel room. You got to have them in person right there. Show them at the counter. The more coins you show us, the more free stuff you get.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is everything for tonight, guys. Final thoughts before we send this one to bed?
I'm waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start driving to Texas. Yeehaw! So
you just yeehaw. Did you just yeehaw?
I did yeehaw. I did yeehaw. Okay. All right. I'm very excited, guys. I will see many of you guys in a few days. Nicky D, what are you doing? Anything exciting this weekend?
I'll be painting some Warhammer, watching some Warhammer's game played online as well, and then I'll be back with my quick review of Mission Impossible and probably Oppenheimer, but not Barbenheimer. But that's it for me.
Barbenheimer. All right.
No.
All right. Well, for me, yep, I'm hitting the. I don't hit the road till Friday. I mean, by that I fly Friday, but I'll be in early in like morning in Texas. So I'll see everyone Friday. I'm super excited to get the chance to bring the orcs to a big event. So it'll be a good time. We thank you so much for joining us this week. We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Signals from the Frontline. Have a great week, and we will see you at the Lone Star Open.
Good night, guys.
Night.